Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another live broadcast of the Cultur'd podcast, where we talk about black cinema. Black cinema has always been cool. We're just letting you know that's the new. that's
That's
our.
it. That's the tag.
That's the tag, baby. What's up, Jade? How you doing?
Hey, I can't complain, man. Another day in the big city, feeling good. The sun's out. It's hot. Hoochie Daddy shorts are out. You know, we're about to get loose and see what happens out here in these streets.
Hoochie Daddy shorts are out. It's been at least 5 years since I've worn shorts, and not Hoochie Daddy, just regular ass cargo shorts.
That's crazy.
I don't.
Like,
Yeah,
wow.
I don't know. When I go to the store, I just naturally reach for pants.
I mean, what happens when it's 90 degrees out? You just thug it out?
Yeah, I just be hot with my legs covered up. I mean, I have jeans and shit that breathe, but
there's no such
definitely
thing as breathable jeans. Like, that just sounds crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna get some. I think this is gonna be the year of Hoochie Daddy shorts. Also, by the way, thank you for the tidbit on the Lupita Nyong'o.
There we go.
Event. I went to Q&A yesterday with Lupita Nyong'o. She is as beautiful in person as we all imagine that she is. Great, beautiful person inside and out. Very good energy. I enjoyed myself quite a bit. Didn't get a chance to say what's up to her. They had her guarded like nuclear key codes.
That's because there's too many niggas like you who want to get with her.
I mean, no, it's not even. It's not even that. It's. I wonder what it feels like to be someone worth millions of dollars. That like people like huddle around here. That like we gotta make sure the package gets the point A to point B, because that's exactly what it was like.
Yeah.
You can walk from here over there. It would be like 4 or 5. You're right, niggas like me. We got a special guest today. Wait, hold on. Am I hearing? Is that a fan? I might be hearing your fan, but I don't. Is that your fan, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just making. Okay, it's one of those fans that swivels.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It kept going in and out.
Busy over there.
If it was a consistent fan, I'd be like, "Oh, I wouldn't hear it." But now I'm.
Well, it's fine. It's fine.
All right. No, it's all good. It's hot out here. This brings a great time to introduce our guests. We got Jeremy Scipio hanging out with us.
What's
up,
going
Jeremy?
on? Yo, first of all, Keenan, it should be against the law for light skinned niggas to not wear shorts. You want to get lighter? You don't want that. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you hate the accusations.
Farmers tan is a real thing in the black community, and let me tell you.
Also, D out here, man.
Yeah, get you some, bro. Also, Hoochie Daddy shorts are banned for guys like us. You got to have really big thighs to fill the Hoochie Daddy shorts. Otherwise, it look like you wearing underwear twice.
Got your thighs out and stuff.
These are thick thigh guy activities. What I mean? We are in the smart guy category.
Listen, Hoochie Daddy shorts, and then we got sundress season. But I ain't seen too many sundresses filled up this year, man. I don't know whether it's the Ozempic thing and like things are thinning out, but I ain't seeing them clappers out moving this year like before.
Southern California is a weird place for sundresses. Yeah. It's a weird place for sundresses, especially in LA, because I feel that the pressure that a lot of women feel to be skinny, you know what I mean, is that unfortunately it results in a lot of women not really having ass. So
it's almost like wearing the doggone nursing gowns at the hospital, just flat cheeks hanging out.
Flat cheeks hanging out. I remember one time, I'm not a big strip club fan, but I remember one of the first strip clubs I went to. It was a skinny girl with one of those dental floss outfits.
A G-string.
It's like a G-string, but it went over the front and then it connected and went down the back. Yeah. She was so skinny that the shit was stretched in the back.
Yeah.
It looked like it was like a Teflon. It looked like you were supposed to pick her up and like put her someplace like a lunchbox. That's like how.
You might have liked that.
Them skinny ones, they surprise you. They be like, how do you shake nothing? That's pretty amazing. Like they be working harder for the money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, how you move that back like that?
Yeah, thick ones be lazy. But yeah, sundresses. I think sundresses are going out of style because girls are in their hot girl season, and you know, sundresses kind of demote like more. I hate to say it like this, more wife type activities. You know, it's not Meg the Stallion wear. You know what I mean? And I think you're just moving further in that direction. I think it could come back, but as of right now, I kind of see it going more like that. You know what I mean? Just
Let me.
out here.
I give it 3 years before Meg the Stallion's behind is chewing up a sundress.
I mean, for
Sundress
her, yeah, for her. I mean, you know, because she gonna grow out of that shit, but then the damage that's done to the culture's already been done.
Not sundress season. Oh God. Well, it's cool for you guys for you, Jeremy and Jade, to join us for it's. We got Juneteenth weekend, we got Father's Day weekend, going on. Shout out to the fathers out there. Happy Juneteenth to everyone that's watching. But before we jump into the movie review, I've known Jeremy for about, I want to say what, 4 or 5 years?
About 5 years.
About 5 years, yeah.
Yeah.
And I forget where we met exactly. Like, was it at the Comedy Store or?
You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the night I met you was when me, you, and Max was at what's that place called? The One Up, I believe. The One Up in Sherman Oaks.
It was someone's birthday, wasn't it?
It might have been. I don't know. I just remember, like, you know, we sat down, and if we met before that, maybe. But I just remember that's when we was officially like, and I forgot what we bonded over, but I know we bonded instantly.
Yeah.
It was just like, you know,
I remember. I remember.
You hate Hoochie Daddy shorts. I hate Hoochie Daddy shorts too. And then next you know, we was off to the races.
Yeah.
I thought this story was going to take a different turn. It's always nervous when people aren't quite sure where they met. I just knew you were going to be like, we met at like a Diddy's party or something like that, and then like the story just takes a turn.
We don't go to Diddy's party. We don't go to Jamie Foxx's house. Those are two places we definitely don't go.
Two off-limit places.
I mean,
what happened with Jamie? Jamie do something? What?
No, but it's a Hollywood legend thing that they say. This is what they say about Jamie. I don't know personally, but they say Jamie has a rule that after like 1 a.m. Nobody's allowed to have clothes on or something like that. And then there's this rumor about people playing naked basketball. I don't know, man. But I just know that I probably wouldn't want to be there after 1.
Yeah. 12:45, you start heading out.
I would do brunch at Jamie's house. I wouldn't do dinner. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, they tell every black man that moves to Hollywood, they're like, don't go to Jamie Foxx's house. That's like the first thing they say. No disrespect to Jamie. Love your work. After we just spread a salacious rumor about what happened at his house. But yeah. So Jeremy's been the homie for a while. But so where are you from originally, Jeremy?
I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
The nasty natty, the 513.
Yes, that's what my mother calls it. I hate when people call Cincinnati nasty, but I appreciate it.
Richie's chicken wings.
Richie's chicken. Oh, you really been there? Okay, all right,
Yeah,
all right.
I love Cincinnati, man. I've had nothing but good times in Cincinnati.
Not only you been to Cincinnati, you been to the hood. That's specific.
We cultured here. I got the way people are.
Ohio hoods are interesting. I went to I was hanging out in Cleveland a couple years ago. I was in the hood in Cleveland, and it's cool. Like it's how I remember growing up in Mobile, Alabama. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot of it was a lot of cookout backyard back of the house cookouts. You know, you had the cousin that went over here that sold some weed real quick to someone that pulled up to the front of the house. Everyone was cool. Everyone was respectful. You know what I mean? But it's like, yo, don't go over there. Like I haven't experienced something like that in a long time. So it was kind of refreshing to like be like, okay, I'm back and places be having these hoods that you don't expect. Like you go like Rochester, New York, they be having like the same type of like concrete pavement
There's
cookout in the
hoods
back hoods
everywhere. There's hoods everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I like to first I like to say Cleveland. Um, my wife's from Cleveland. I'm from Cincinnati. Cleveland to me is more like they got more in common with Detroit. Those are two similar cities.
Yeah, a lot of fabric.
Cincinnati. You said a lot of fabric.
Yes.
What?
You talk about not wearing shorts. Them jokers that have suits with 20.
Oh,
Yes.
All the way down
Yeah.
that same thing.
Yes.
that's funny.
Yes.
Yeah, Cincinnati is, I don't claim this part of it, but it is what it is. It has a lot of Southern influence. My family's from New York, so I was more New York influenced. But there's a lot of I'm old enough to admit now that there was some Atlanta parts of Cincinnati that I wasn't crazy about. But the hood I'm from is Lincoln Heights, and there's some people from there that don't ever acknowledge it, but like the Isley brothers,
Yeah.
a lot of Nikki Giovanni. I can name some more Black culture people, but yeah, I just like to shout out Lincoln Heights a little bit because they don't ever get enough love, credit, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Ohio has a lot of talent came out of Ohio as a whole. Cleveland, Akron, the Dayton area, Cincinnati, there is a lot of talent, both actors, actresses, artists, athletes. Like it's crazy amount of talent. Would I live there again? Probably not. I ain't never gonna say never, but like I ain't going back to the cold.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
and that kind of brings me to the question. So did you start doing comedy in Ohio, or where'd you start?
Briefly, I would say I got my chops from LA, so I always consider myself an LA comedian. But I say that first year when I was like just kind of bumping my head around town. I started in some of the hood parts of Cincinnati, and then I went to the Cincinnati Funny Bone was located in Newport, Kentucky. So I went there to kind of become more legit.
Mhm.
And it's funny because like I actually took a comedy class, but I'm so against them now that people don't believe I would have done that. But it just rule of three, all that stuff, and also I wasn't old enough to just be in the club, so that was the only way you could be in the club and be of age is if you were taking the class, whatever. So but then I moved to LA probably. I started comedy April of that year. I moved to LA by August. So
Why did you choose LA over New York?
I had a friend here from high school. I went to a performing arts high school where I played jazz piano
Mhm.
and then I painted and sculpted, whatever. And my friend, he's one of the best to this day to me. He's one of the best jazz piano players ever on the planet. So, just when he moved to LA, he went to Musicians Institute,
Mhm.
and he just would come back with these stories all the time about LA. And I just came to visit because I was living like a real life in Cincinnati. And when somebody telling you all these stories, you're like, I got to see what it's about. And yeah, man, I mean, he wasn't lying, but there's a rougher version of the way he was living. Like it was rough.
Absolutely.
Like, it was rough, and it's still rough out here. But people just see the Instagram version of your life and be like, "Oh, that's amazing." So that's basically what I was doing. But I say the thing that kind of made me go like, "Okay, I got to move." When I first got here, I got to Hollywood. I walked all the way up the Sunset Strip, and I went to the Laugh Factory, and I met Tony Rock, Tiffany Haddish. I met the owner, Jamie, and I just we had a really good time. And then then I went to the comedy store, and then I had a really bad time. And and then after that, I was like, I can get used to this abuse, and then I moved.
Well, I mean, so because I've noticed a lot of like Midwestern comedians move to LA more than New York. Like all my friends from Minneapolis moved to California, Ohio. Anyone, most people I know from Ohio moved to LA or California or San Francisco. It seems like people from the South and the East Coast move up to New York. And I keep wondering, like, is that like why that trajectory? Why is it that trajectory? Is it because and Jade, you can attest to this too, because you moved out here.
Yeah,
Is it
I mean, it's a lot of proximity to home. Like, I mean, that was one debate. It's just like you want to be in a bigger city with more opportunities and such. And it's just like, all right, LA, City of Angels, land, follow your dreams, all that good stuff. And then like if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. And like the East Coast has a different feel. So if you're a real like tried and true East Coast type of person, New York is it. It's got all the action. It's going to give you that juice. And you can still get to your family with a flight in an hour. You come to LA, you know, you're 4 or 5 hours on the plane, you know, to get back home if need be or an emergency, and a few more $100 than what you would spend. So I don't know. For me, it was just like I didn't want to be cold anymore. The East Coast wasn't it. And it made sense. I put my shovel on my neighbor's doorstep, put the ice scraper in the trash can, and then hit 70 West. I'm out of here. So I can't see myself living anywhere else. I have literally looked, scoured, at least domestically, at least. I don't know where else I would go that would give me the same weather, same activity, same type of feel that I could do in the United States without humidity and hurricanes and or tornadoes.
That's funny.
how
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Yeah. What about you?
I wish I was as calculated as that. I didn't think this through. It was the dumbest decision I ever made in my time. No, I'm kidding. But I'd say New York. I had some familiarity with. LA was the unknown. So now that I have developed and I actually have more of a sense of opinion. I could advise somebody, a little more on the timing of what you probably should or shouldn't do. And I wouldn't take away my experiences, but I would say for me, it was really as simple as like say had that same friend moved to New York and told those same amount of stories to me, I probably would have ended up going to New York. But I would say LA to me, it just kind of represented the unknown, as opposed to like I said, my mother was born in Brooklyn. My family, like I have been to New York several times. I have a grandfather still there. Like New York has been looming over my head my whole life, so it wasn't as familiar. People who don't know where I'm from assume I'm from New York. So it just to get something fresh. Just LA was fresh. And yeah, and at the time it was like, man, I tell you, even like I'll tell you one of the silliest reasons I liked LA. Man, I couldn't believe a restaurant like Jack in the Box existed. I was like, no, they got this place, they got everything. It's like a Burger King and a Taco Bell in one. Like I'm trying to tell you, man.
And it's open 24 hours and they accept EBT. What the
Bro, I moved here for all the wrong reasons.
Definitely, absolutely. And you should stay the hell out of Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
That's like going to Waffle House and not being drunk.
You're like, I'm moving to Atlanta because they got Waffle Houses. They also got Waffle Houses in New York and Pennsylvania. So,
like I said, man, I could advise somebody now. I would say for comedians, I would say master your hometown first. Like be the man in your hometown before you move. And if you do move somewhere, I would say if you're moving, and Keenan, we know this. This is basic information at this point. If you want to become a better stand-up comic and get more stage time, you move to New York. If you want to write, act, produce anything to do with Hollywood, you move to LA. But this is all baseline. Whatever. That's what I would suggest.
And you have to have a thick skin and a lot of patience. That's. And I would say LA more. You because a lot of people in LA act not like how real humans act, and if you're not used to that, You gotta adjust. So
So yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, I have a unique take on that, and this is because how I was raised. A lot of people look at what's the word I use? Um, what's the word? I can't think of the word right now, but you know, my family wasn't like I had one of those Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter,
Mhm.
like that's when we all got together. Other than that, you was damn near on your own. We would do crossovers like or cameos like Marvel, but that was it. You know what I'm saying? Like and so my what people might consider, fake out here, like that's like I take those acquaintances, that's the word I use. I take
Yeah.
my acquaintances very seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need anybody in my face.
Yeah.
I think there's nobody I want around that much. And when people are that up on me, I get suspicious. Just
That's your angle,
No.
fool.
Well, and what's
so,
funny about that's like what I'm saying too. Like it's not a lot of things out here you have to adjust to because you're not sure. And it's
yeah,
whether you have whether you have a close friend you always see too. Like it's still a thing where you have to be like, I'm not sure this is, or how do I navigate this because this might not be what I'm assuming it is,
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
well,
yeah. LA,
that's cool. So like moving on to the show, um, to the movie. So this is the question that I've been wanting to ask people. So
okay.
as a comedian and as a black man, how did you feel about the Oscar slap?
Me first. I guess is I laugh hard. I mean, as a comedian, man, I hate to tell the truth on this because
Please. That's the only thing we take here is the truth.
there's I am freedom of speech and all that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this. I remember when I first started a fight. I remember the first time I started a fight. I used to be like, "Yo, man, words can't hurt. Like, why would you take it there?" And then sometimes you go like, "Yo, I gotta do something about this." You know what I'm saying? So, and culturally, you got to know your barriers and your boundaries with people. So, if you don't understand, I mean, a random act of violence can correct that for you. So the comedian in me is like, hey, yeah, nah, I'm totally against that. That's it's messed up, and I think there should be dire consequences for people who break that barrier of stage performance. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't believe that we live in a world where words can't get your ass whooped in any scenario. So
Facts.
there it is. That's it. That's it.
Well, and that's an interesting thing because the reason I asked that question is because I've been noticing the response from non-black people to the release of Bad Boys and how basically people have been like, "Oh, is I remember in Variety and Hollywood Reporter they were like, "Oh, are we willing to forgive Will Smith and go back to the movies?" And it's one of those things where you're like, "Who gives a fuck?" You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're like, yes, it happened. Even when it happened, I don't believe I took sides. I
Hmm.
believe I was like, oh, that stinks, or that's I would hate it for me to if that happened to me, I would have bashed him in his face. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of like I
Yeah.
don't want anyone rolling up on me. But then at the same time too, I'm like, but I also like Will Smith. This is the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, for God's sake. You know what I mean? So it was so I never had like a dog in the fight per se. And then I start paying attention to who was mad at Will.
Hmm.
It was the white comedians that like saying nigga on stage. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm
Hmm.
kind of it's kind of one of those things where you're like,
Bro, why
okay,
are you that outraged?
yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, okay, is there something like behind? Is there something like behind this more than just what happened, right? And I started noticing like even more now, like when the movie came out and people were like, we're not sure if we this is when I start noticing this is what I didn't like. I was hanging out with a friend of mine. I was hanging out with some white friends. Well, actually, one white friend and his friends who are white, and a few of them in the group they worked at studios, right?
Mhm.
And we were all talking about movies and all that stuff. And then the subject of Bad Boys and Will Smith came up, and it was quite evident that the energy like plummeted into negativity,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And to be fair, the context is these same people, when we talked about black shows and black movies, they didn't have any type of connection. They didn't know about what we were talking about because there's no reason for them to, right? Even though they work in Hollywood. But, so when it came to like the subject of Will Smith, it was very defensive of their conversation about whether they were going to go see Bad Boys, and it turned into whether Bad Boys was a good movie or not. And they tried to what's the word? They tried to frame it in that sense, but then when we actually started talking about Will Smith, the conversation turned into I don't really like him like that,
Yeah.
And one
That's
of the
a hard pill to swallow, especially like he's been doing great for decades. Like high quality performances, like box office, like number one sales, like you can't discredit his body of work and whether you're gonna go see a pick. Like the movie was good, and his movies typically are good. There's a couple here and there that some people are like, all right, I could do without, but like the man sells all the time and is committed to the process. So it's just weird for me to hear people like it was a slap. Like he didn't like rape a kid or like a
Whoa.
woman. Like he's not
Whoa.
beating up like random people like that elderly. Like we're talking about a slap. A disagree, a slap.
You're basically talking about Ezra Miller, the star of The Flash, which
See, I don't like name dropping like
he
that.
well, Ezra Miller, they got arrested the same night that the slap happened.
Shit.
It was the same night?
Same night. It was the same.
Oh wow.
night.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they put Will Smith up to it. Like we need to cover this up.
Yeah, because they had a $300 million movie coming out starring this person, and they're like, we can't lose this money. I'm just saying it was strange how people were trying to make it seem like a moral quandary to support this film. What? You're supporting Will? It's like, no, shut up. Like look, it was shocking when it happened. We feel bad for Chris, but at the same time, nigga, it's Bad Boys. Like what? Like what? Like what?
What are we talking about here?
Why is this a conversation?
In this society, I'm learning that context is dying. Like if people can blur the lines of any topic, they can and will. I like giving takes on things, but I am not the I don't police it. Like I'll be honest, I judge it, but I don't dwell in the consequences of things, because if it was up to me, all y'all go to hell. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like if you do something I don't like, I'll get rid of you. So that's why I don't deal with consequences. So what he did was messed up, right? That's a whole separate thing from creating art. And I know a lot of people don't like when I say that, but that's just how I actually feel. I was an artist, and then when I see I detach myself from products I make, like on purpose. Like I'll almost do the opposite of whatever I said in that thing, just to prove I exist outside of whatever that is. And then when it comes to watching a movie that has a separate universe associated from Will Smith in general, I don't care how close he's playing to himself. You're supposed to be able to separate these two things. Now, if they would have, and the thing that would have actually got him canceled, I mean, I'm not even gonna go there because I want to put it in people's heads, but it's kind of sad what can get you actually canceled versus what people would consider. To me, the slap is totally separate. I think Stephen A. Smith was looking for a hot topic. He's a weirdo. Fucking weirdo.
Get some extra views. Just his take. I was like, shut up, Stephen A.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just to show you I don't really side with Will Smith. I don't accept any excuse he had for that moment, because that was a long ass walk. You had time to think. You ain't that crazy. Ain't nobody that crazy to walk all that. But with that being said, the movie, it was better than I expected.
And I'm glad that his family seems to be happier now. I'm glad Jada decided to be cool.
Is she though? Like, is she?
Well, so and this is the last thing I want to say before we get into the movie. The interesting thing about because people are bringing that up in the same conversation.
Yeah,
they're saying he slapped Chris Rock and he can't control his woman. Like it's a very and it's a combination of things. I think it is a combination of the isms. I think it's a combination of the racism and the sexism and all that stuff. But at the same time, two things can be true at the same time. It was also ridiculous what was happening because before the slap, we had the entanglement.
Yeah.
Then we had the slap. Then I think Jada was trying to get on the train that had already left the station.
Yeah. But not even just that. Chris Rock did it too. So yeah, you're right. I mean, like I just like, yo, I was like everybody else do it. It's fine because that's just how the internet works. But when Chris Rock did it, I'm like, oh, bro, stay focused, bro.
Like, it just brings us back to the point of this selective outrage stuff. And it's showing up more and more, like in my life, my world, my circle of friends, and then you see it out in like mainstream media. It's just frustrating. It's just like I think people come across like they are like holier than thou, the righteous, and like there's a hot topic or trigger that they disagree with, and just go to extremes with it. Versus like again, taking into context. Being able to differentiate things, like everything is not equal. Every person is not equal. Every employee isn't equal, and they should never be treated that way. Your kids aren't equal. Your parents aren't equal. Somebody's a favorite. Somebody's got more love for, or some type of preference, whether it's marginal or massive, like whatever it may be. Everybody's not equal, and we need to get past that. Like the level of equality comes from you're human. And that's going to be the baseline. And you deserve some form of respect, and you should be a good person. Now, everything else outside of that, when it comes to equality, like I think context matters, and we've got to acknowledge that in how we interact, how we judge, how we engage with people, and what we ask of people. You don't ask somebody who's say a professional athlete. That's not going to be a therapist. That's not who you're looking at for your therapist. You don't ask a welder to go out here and create write a book. Like this is not a fair expectation.
Man, we about to enter the season of it. I couldn't stand watching Cardi B interview Joe Biden and acting like that was a real conversation that any person needed. Who needed that? Cardi B's family didn't need that. Why would you ever do that? Yo, we are
like, who signed off on this shit?
We are in a blurred line culture right now.
They're not having LeVar Burton interview the president. They having Neil deGrasse Tyson interviewing the president. They have Sexy Red interviewing Kamala Harris. What the fuck are we doing?
Man. Wings at a strip club, man. Wings at a strip club. That's
the society we live in. This is the Wings at Strip Club society. So we showed up this weekend. Bad Boys had the biggest opening of the year. Well, the box office wasn't that great anyway, but it's because Black and brown people, Hispanics specifically, showed up to the movie theater. It's basically the Fast and Furious audience. Hollywood needs to realize that movies that get Black people and Hispanic people out make tons of money.
Yeah. Because
then everyone else goes to see it. So this is going to be, let's jump into the review of Bad Boys Ride or Die. But before then, let's go ahead and roll the trailer.
Mike, there's a storm coming. Things are going to get bad.
Be gone, Gator. I rebuke you. See, Mike, that's how you command the universe. That motherfucker racist, Mike. Go. That motherfucker racist. Rated R.
Woo!
Had some
I think
heat
you love-
in there.
I
I,
love-
got
I-
hype to give, man.
I love that movie. Yo, I went to see what movie did I go see? I went to see Furiosa, and the Bad Boys trailer that played. It was the only trailer that got like an applause break.
Yeah.
That's
That
what I'm
was
saying.
rough.
That's what I'm saying. When people are trying to be like, "Oh, we're trying to get Will Smith," motherfuckers love Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, and Bad Boys. I don't know
Period.
where the confusion is.
Yeah, just to have that type of high action in black culture in general. That might be the biggest black culture franchise that has that type of action. You know, because once we go to anything else, it kind of swerves into a different lane. So it's kind of cool. Tyler Perry, you know, he don't have anything to, he has a lot of our culture, but he don't have that one. So
Yeah.
well, you got Alex Cross. I don't know if you guys are big fans.
Oh,
Yeah,
Alex Cross. Yeah, I've seen. Yeah,
So here's the deal for me. This movie was the best out of all of them for me.
What?
Yeah, I said it. I'm going on record. Like, I felt good the entire movie. The soundtrack, I laughed the entire time. The action, like people were clapping and screaming in the theater, which was half full. I went, I think at 7:00, 7:30 on a Friday. Wasn't that sold out? But like people were engaging, talking to the screen, clapping. Like I had a great time. Like it was fantastic. Besides there being open seats and people sitting right next to us for some reason, like it was rocking. Like I had a good time. I thought the action, like you said, Fast and Furious definitely showed up in the Bad Boys series, and like I don't know, I had a ball.
So real quick though, because you said you can't start off with that type of take, bro. So have you seen all of them recently?
Yeah.
Like, did you watch all three, and then it was like, all right, now I'm ready for the fourth one?
I did not. No, I didn't go back and rewatch the first few. But
I think you have to, because that was
Okay.
wild. I think you might be copying them.
what's your number one? How do you rank it? Just best and worst. We ain't even got to.
I gotta go two first. I gotta go two first. Even though it was convoluted, I gotta go two first. It's like then they had the Haitians and the but they started off with the KKK, bro. I'm sorry, that was hard. You know what I'm saying? But it's debatable. I think they're all good movies.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, I'll save my ranking. Well, let's do the full ranking at the end.
All right.
Okay.
The ranking of all four movies. Let's do them at the end. I'll save mine until the end. But Jeremy, how was your theater going? Where'd you go see it, Jeremy?
Where'd I go? I went to Regal and North. I guess that's North Hollywood.
Yeah,
the Regal. So I have a unique experience though, because I went to the premiere 2 weeks ago. The one that they were like talking about Martin moving slow and Will Smith was holding his head. Like I was there when they pulled up. I just didn't stay for the whole, film or whatever. But just watching the hype around it, it really was like, oh, this is great because, something that black in that mainstream, it's just very rare. But yeah, when I went to, I ended up watching it at the Regal, and it was good. Like people cheered. The spoiler review. We spoiled.
We spoiling everything.
Yeah, Reggie. I mean, come on, man. Like him being on screen. I actually think that if they did some type of spinoff with Armando and Reggie, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Bad Sons.
Bad Sons, sure. Because they
Bad
both
Boys.
was like gay. They was like in it. You know what I mean? That's what I like.
Can I have an honest moment with you all?
Yeah.
So, I keep some guns in the house. Every time, you know how as a man you play through this scenario. Somebody came into the house What am I
Yeah.
gonna do? That's exactly how I feel like I would show up. Like, get my shit, blah blah blah, poo poo. I'm taking people like, yo, I was like, Reggie is me. Like, this is my spirit.
Oh man.
Reggie unloaded like a real can of whoop ass on. Like, I'm just like lethal. Like that was one of the cheering, screaming moments. Like
He hit him with
that. I mean, like he was locked in. Everybody was like, "Yo, damn, Reggie's wrong now."
Well,
Reggie.
it made me think about what the fuck is this dude doing over in other countries?
right.
I'm like, God damn!
Man.
Is this Navy SEAL Team 6? Like who? Because he ain't just a Marine. I'm like, this cat ain't just a Marine.
Advanced level hand-to-hand combat, like tactical skills, silence. I mean, and then just the marksmanship alone. Like I was just like, this is exactly how I would do if somebody ran up in my step.
And then him playing Call of Duty, like that was a good it was a good psych, but not psych. You know what I mean? Like, he did all he did was practice this moment.
Jeremy, that's what I mean. This man lives, breathes, and eats death. Like this, like, are you when he's not shooting people, he's shooting people online. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I hope he doesn't have an episode.
You know, it's funny. Like, I in my mind, you know, because I was like, if I would have made the movie, I would have did this. That's the one thing where I was just like, yeah, I wouldn't have went that hard. They killed like that. That was crazy. I would have had him like strategically go, wait, what happened in Call of Duty? What happened in training? And then like, nah, they just made him up. He was damn near like he was wild in the Terminator.
He was a killing machine. This is the one thing because I did go back recently and watch all 4 Bad Boys films.
Okay.
And this is what I will say about the Bad Boys that not a lot of people acknowledge. And I'm saying this is because we've spent the last 10 years shitting on black men, the last online, saying that black men don't show up, saying that black men don't protect, saying that our political views might be against the well-being of the black community and all that stuff and everything. But what's funny is no one talks about Bad Boys. Because the thing about Bad Boys, especially when you watch like Bad Boys 1 and Bad Boys 2, very conservative films. You understand what I'm saying? Like we're Americans. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's like 2 black men. They're police officers for 1. 2, they're like, we're also Americans that care about our country and we're going to do what we can. There's obviously bad guys that we have to go after. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They're also like, when someone speaks Spanish, they're also like, yo, this is fucking America. We speak black men, mind you. This is fucking America. We speak English here. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's a very conservative, and I don't want to say
conservative, but that's just Martin being Martin. Like,
but again, I don't want to say conservative because I don't believe it's like a political thing. I don't think it's necessarily political, but it's one of those things where it's like these are like black men that show up.
Yeah,
Reggie's a Marine, a U.S. Marine for crying out loud, right?
Let's go.
And it's one of those movies where it's like, here's black men being men. Like everything that people say, protect us and protect. This is what it looks like. I mean, it's exaggerated, but I mean, like, is this man willing to like murder 15 people to protect his pregnant wife and mother-in-law?
Yeah.
You understand?
Let's go.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Huh? Go ahead.
I said I just love it. I like the.
No, we cheering you on.
But that's what I mean. That's one of the reasons why I think people love this movie so much, because they're like, oh, it's not black dudes being pussies. Like, it's like these are black dudes that are like, yo, he got my girl, he got my family. All right, get the guns.
Get the shit. Get the
strap. The guns. It's time to roll out. You understand what I'm saying? It's like a very like. And I noticed it with all 4 movies. Like this, it was the thing I noticed. So it's like it's like a refreshing representation of blackness, black masculinity, manhood, and all that stuff in a ridiculous. Because back in the day, it would be Arnold Schwarzenegger and it would be Sylvester Stallone and Jean-Claude Van Damme and
Facts.
Tom Cruise and all those people, and no one questions that, right?
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, it's Will Smith and Martin and Reggie and Armando and everyone else that's a part of this group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, every one of these movies follows a formula. The movie Bad Boys for Life, not Bad Boys for Life, Bad Boys Ride or Die opens the same way that every other movie opens. They're in Will Smith's Porsche, and Will Smith is worried about Martin fucking up his Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, this time Martin has diabetes or something, and he's like, "Oh man, my stomach hurts. I need to go get a ginger ale." And I didn't realize that like the Quickie Mart and Skittles is an ongoing joke throughout the series.
Yeah.
So the fact that he like got Skittles with his hot dog, that's like an homage to like people that have been riding with Bad Boys all of these years. And then obviously they get to the wedding, and then Martin has a heart attack, and when he passes out, he ends up in the ancestral plane that looks like the Bahamas. or so he ends up at Sandals Resort or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I thought that was an interesting aspect to it too, because they kind of talked about that in the last film as well. Martin getting older and retiring,
and watching his health and stuff, and going too far. Like what I liked, the wedding scene, good, another black representation moment, right? So like one black man getting married, finding their person or whatever, and then you had like some staple moments. Like of course you got the wobble, and then these weird toasts. Toasts always, get a little dicey. You never know what people are gonna say, whether it's gonna be good. But my favorite line is just like, Mike, don't fuck this up. Like, out of all things, like this is the time. Like, don't do this. So I like those moments. So those feel good, kind of like a mini splash or homage to like the Wood, wedding scene. Feel good, warm fuzzies, and then get into the shit.
Yeah, like the best man. Go ahead, Jeremy.
I'd say first of all, can we just state? I remember when they first announced that they had said they were going to do Bad Boys 3 and 4, because they had announced them together, and I think they were going to produce them back to back, but I think because of COVID and some other stuff, they couldn't. But yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody was saying this. Don't you feel like it should have been like Bad Boys for Life as the other one, and then Ride or Die should have been, because it's like we ride together, we die together. Bad Boys for Life, they said at the same time. I don't know.
There was an opportunity there.
It was a missed opportunity.
I just don't understand how they confuse that conversation. Things I liked. I like that the movie franchise seemed to have improved in quality overall, especially because the tone of the first movie is not. It's not that it's bad, because I think the first movie was still a first of its kind. Mm-hmm. So it's not that it was bad, but it improved, and it kind of leaned more into its genre the more the movies go, because just like you said, like you also got to put the Fast and the Furious franchise in between all of these movies. So this is the top of that, and the plot still makes more sense because Fast and Furious, they don't care about how ridiculous the plots get. I mean, I would say this movie's plot was more believable than the Bad Boys for Life plot. That one still great, but Hidden Kid, I'm like, all right, fine. But every time I see these two actors on screen, Will Smith and what's his name? Actually, his name is Jacob Scipio. I thought that was interesting. That's what I was saying at the beginning. But I kept looking at these two. I was like, they look enough alike. Like I was like, yo, Jaden wishes he looked like. Never mind. But
they got the same forehead.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
But yeah, I'd say one of the things that I wish, but I understand health wise and other factors, even acting wise, I wish there was more consistency in Martin's portrayal in their dynamic, because the first movie he was the more aggressive one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And of course, health wise, he couldn't keep that part up. But I wish that was a storyline more associated with his decline in action versus him going from being this high active dude, volatile guy, to being very passive. Just like it became like him just being like the fat sidekick, even though he's not
the comic relief. I think it had to do with health, and also I think they both started to get money, because remember in the first movie, Will was like a trust fund kid, and Martin was more blue collar. So he's like, "Yo, I gotta like put all of my energy into this job, because if I lose my job, I'm not gonna have money like you."
Yeah,
right. And I gotta take care of my family, and I gotta take care of my 3 kids, and all that stuff. So I don't know. You're exactly right. Like, I kind of hate how Martin did become like the sidekick, that all he does, all the point of the matter is that he is the one that gets all the laughs and stuff in Will Smith, because in the original Bad Boys, Martin was really the star.
He was bigger as an actor at the time.
Yeah, he was big because he had done movies and stuff up to that point. I mean, the original Bad Boy. You want to say something, Jake? Go ahead.
I was just thinking. I mean, like, he did kind of get that juice back. I mean, he got that courage. Like, he was like, I'm not supposed to die. I can't die. And like, they really continued that storyline or theme throughout the entire film. Whether it's walking through cars or kicking in doors, like, we about to take these fools. We're not about to run or retreat. Like, we're just gonna make it happen. And he was the one being aggressive and a bit risky in many cases, but like, that put them in a shit where like stuff got popping. So I don't know. He got replaying that to a little bit. I don't know.
No, I agree. As far as the last film, like the storyline of Martin in this film, Bad Boys Ride or Die, that was great, and I'm glad, especially because there's this outcry for Martin's health issues in real life. Seeing him move was like, oh, thank God. But I'm saying, like, the character of Marcus Burnett throughout you know what I mean? Like, I just,
I get it. I get it.
If he would have addressed it, like, man, I can't move like I used, so it's just weird that he just went straight from like always ready to fight to like damn, Mike, he just say wild takes.
Well, in every movie, he's always having like an existential crisis. Like, he's always the like older of the two. Either way. Now, I will say this: I missed Teresa Randall.
Of course, yeah.
Tasha Smith was fine. She was fine. But they gave her less. They essentially pulled an Aunt Viv move in this movie, because what happened is, when it was Janet Hubert, she had a whole lot of stuff that she was doing in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
But then when they switched over to Daphne Reed, she kind of just backed out of the plot a little bit. Like, she was there, but she didn't have any iconic moments like the original Aunt Viv did. Right. And if so, like, when you went back and watched the original, like Teresa Randall was getting into fights with Martin, they were good. She's like, if you want this, you need to come home. It was like she had like personality. And now you switch it with Tasha Smith, and Tasha Smith is like, oh, we love you and you're great. And then that's like it. And then she's like, but she didn't really do a lot in the movie like she did in the old movies.
I think you had to. You couldn't give her the same type of sauce, having a different character after this long. I don't think you could write her in for a meaningful contribution. Like, I think she did her job. She got in and out. We hid some food, like, got rid of that stuff. Like, you can't have it. We care about it. And then move on. Like, she wasn't in. Mm-hmm. However, some of these new faces and different faces, I thought the cameos certainly make the movie fun. Like, DJ Khaled pulling up, I was just like, yo, we the best, like, out here.
And he did deserve to get hit by that van.
Bruh.
Oh, hey. I tell you, to me, the disrespectful part, because you got to think about it, like, you can die with class, and then it's like, when he was still crushed in between the truck, and they threw that Molotov cocktail, and it blew up everything.
Yeah.
You just seen his body. I was like, oh, somebody hates him, but they hated his character. Like it was like, we gotta kill this fool. Like no sequel for you.
I'm happy that like they were cool with like getting killed and stuff because and I will say this, I do like the homage. I don't know if this was on purpose, but they did a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air homage when Martin asked Will to get him some Skittles for $1,000. There was an episode of Fresh Prince when Uncle Phil had a heart attack. Prior to him having a heart attack, he was told he needed to change his diet, and he goes up to Will. He's like, "Yo, I'll give you $500 if you give me a cheeseburger."
Oh yeah, he did the Skittles.
Came to mind. I was like, "Yo, that's like a Fresh Prince joke that they did."
Yeah.
I feel like these guys have been on TV so long that it's impossible for them to not tread over some plot that they have done at some point.
Yeah. You know who else showed up good for me? Tiffany Haddish. Like I enjoyed that. I feel like I would like to be in her presence in that scene, just a groove. Like I enjoyed a lot of it. Man.
It took a while for my audience to get on board with Tiffany Haddish in the movie theater.
Well, you said it was Hispanic.
It took them a minute. When she first came on screen, it was silent. Like the movie theater got like quiet.
Huh.
But then, like as the scene went on longer, people started to like, which good for Tiffany because for some reason people are mad at her right now. But
did she have like the drinking thing or something go on where was it a DUI or something? What happened where like people started pulling back from her a little bit?
Well, it's mostly because she supports Israel.
Oh,
you know, along with most other things.
I'm purposely remaining silent on this issue, but
I
laughed at your face. The response, like,
I don't really want to go into it, but that's the reason why a lot of black people are pulling away from her.
Yeah, go
on Twitter if you want to find out. People that are watching, go on Twitter if you want to find out what's going on. I still support Tiffany, but it took a while for the audience to kind of like warm up to her. But
I think
it was.
I think she did good. I think she did good, like getting in and getting out. You know what I mean? Because I feel like cameos sometimes you can overstay your welcome. You know what I mean? It's like because they fit a couple of cameos. Actually, all those cameos happened in the same like couple minutes because you had Tiffany, you had Joyner Lucas, and DJ Khaled. They was like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You know, but I like, you know, she gave what it needed without it being like, oh, here we go, this annoying character. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, shoot, there was something I was going to say about that scene. Never mind. Tabitha, she played a character named Tabitha. My sister's name is Tabitha. This is what I was going to say. So that was a part of the bad guy. I'm sorry to say, but the bad guys, the villains in Bad Boys movies are all forgettable. Like I don't care about the villains in these movies, but the villains they put the ex-army guy, they put $5 million hit on Will and Martin's heads.
Yeah,
and of course they showed the thug dude with the gold teeth, with the gold grill.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first, I was like, "Is this the same dude that turned in Queen and Slim?" Like we don't trust niggas with gold teeth. Like what? Like what is happening? So I thought that whole sequence was funny. I thought the sequence with Tiffany was funny. Going into the DJ Khaled scene was funny. The gold teeth guy showed up. That whole sequence with the Molotov cocktails and the car chase. I mean, it was interesting. An interesting aspect of the movie was Captain Howard's daughter, Judy, and how she was like bloodthirsty for Will's son. Now, I guess I like the way that they played it. A part of me wishes they could have made it a little bit more ruthless. You know what I mean? Like the conundrum was you can't stop her. It felt a little held back for me. Like it didn't necessarily feel like it was like maybe I wasn't convinced that she was really seeking revenge. You know what I mean?
I thought she respected her job enough to kind of have like a little restraint, but like I thought her words and demeanor came across as pretty adamant about like not giving a shit about him. So and like when I see him, I'm gonna put him down type situation. And I like the way how they kind of was it the juxtaposition with the daughter and their relationship versus her feelings and input. I like there was constant tension while you were laughing throughout the movie, which made me feel good. Then you dose this high octane action piece to it. I just thought that there was a lot of quality into it that made whatever you wanted the movie to be, it showed up a lot for whatever perspective. If you just wanted to laugh, there was plenty of comedy in there. You wanted action, it's plenty of that in there. You want some tension and some plot twist and who did it, who's the snitch, who's the mole. Like you had all of that.
I think the movie definitely picked up in Act 2. The first part when they were doing like between the wedding and leading into when the plot really kicked in, that bureaucracy stuff, I was like, okay, I don't like when it's just people talking in suits, I'm like, okay, I don't care about this. Except the scene where Conrad Howard was pinned with connection with the cartels, and Will Smith confronted the FBI agent who was basically like, yeah, he's criminal, we don't, and he's like, yo, I was with him when he died, you ain't gonna talk about my boss like that. Right. I thought I was gonna slap the FBI agent. I was like, oh wow, this is
I was here for that. Yeah, I wanted that.
I want him to be like, keep Captain's name out your fucking mouth. I want him to say that.
That would have been a moment. Keep Captain's name out your mouth.
I'm giving you one more chance. Like I want to be like, yes, yes, yes.
No, everybody, either forgives or don't forgive Will Smith. I think he's literally not allowed to make money off of the situation. If he profits off of that line, that's going to reignite something way bigger. Like, oh, you just going to make T-shirts off of my hurt word.
Then Chris is going to change his mind and say, you know what? I think I will press charges. Fletcher appears in the movie.
Yeah,
John Sally, yeah.
Played by John Sally. I didn't realize, because again, a lot of Bad Boys movies, the plots are kind of forgettable and stuff, and the cameos be so quick. I give it up to Bad Boys for connecting the universes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Fletcher is a character because in the first one, he was the big nerdy. I felt seen in the first one was a big, nerd ass, humongous black IT convict. And I didn't realize, I was like, oh shit. Like I went back and watched it. I was like, oh, this is the same. Yeah. And he was Bad Boys 2. He was in Bad Boys 2. I don't necessarily like that they killed him. I mean, I guess anybody can go in these movies, but I was like, damn, they killed him. And then they took him out on the gurney, and the gurney was too small because John Sally's humongous. I just like how he's like, Captain Conrad came to me because y'all are too stupid to actually
figure this shit out. Yeah.
Yeah, there's moments. The movie had a lot to accomplish in a little time. So you know, because if we was picking this movie apart, there's some scenes that were just unnecessary. But they had to have the characters saying the thing for the beats for the payoff later, you know.
Yeah.
Because I would say, you know, like that whole scenario of why they were even in the club in the first place was totally unnecessary. Because what's crazy is to get a direct text from the person that you're currently investigating, like that's insane of a clue. You know what I mean? I don't care what triggered it. That's insane.
Yeah.
So to even them say, hey, and then for them to give this obvious, like the timing, because how many years have passed since the last Bad Boys? It's been some time. So 4 years to get the one text message you actually need in the moment you need it, and then to that to only be a clue to go to another place to get a QR code that anybody could have got.
Well, and what's interesting because I used to work in IT, and the question is, how did you not hack into his computer around the time of his death? Because anytime anyone leaves a company and they have a computer, IT is supposed to either back it up to a server or wipe it clean.
Yeah.
So the fact that they waited 4 years to try to hack and then it triggered.
It was the personal one that was somewhere. I forget.
Man, cut it out, man. We got AI.
Though. I mean, but
like I said, I'm not gonna pick this movie apart. I understand that it had to get from one place to the next for this thing to happen.
Yeah.
I wish there would have been a little bit of more attention on, because this is why I thought was interesting when Martin threatened. I should call him Marcus. When Marcus threatened, I'm trying not to say their real names. See, look, Fletcher. Yeah, he threatens him, and he had the gun, and then obviously some sniper shoots him, and he's like, "Did you do it?" Like, I think so. I would have liked him to get some pressure from that. Like, yo, you murdering people on the site. Like, they just let him go. Like, hey, just get out of here because you're gonna be fugitives in 10 minutes anyway. Might as well get to that part.
Let me ask you this question: did y'all think it needed to be longer? So, I mean, when my wife and I left the theater, she was just like, "I think it probably should have been a little longer." I was like, "I don't know. They fit a lot in that time frame.
A lot
I'm
of
kind of over 3-hour movies unless they're just super, super badass. But it takes a lot to go 3 hours of high octane stuff." What did you think?
No. That movie that's enough. Like I said,
Bad Boys movies are good between 150 and 2 hours. I mean, 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 2 hours. Those are the type of movies that are better condensed. We learned this with Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys 2 was way too long.
Too long of a
and
movie.
Afterwards, and that's the reason, because if you notice, if you go back and watch Bad Boys 2, there's no other movie in the series like Bad Boys 2, because they were like, yo, that was a lot. like when you Bad Boys 2 was a lot. So I mean, they reeled it back after that.
Yeah.
I remember I went to sleep in the theater watching Bad Boy 2 towards that part, and I woke up and I was like, there's still more movie? I thought that they solved the thing. They took a whole plane trip to another place in order to solve the issue. But but no, I agree. Like, yeah, Bad Boys 2, I would say that's probably its biggest flaw, was that the movie went too long. Yeah, the timing was great. I mean, I think that, technology and people overall, they know, like, hey, look, you got to fit all this information in this time period for the payoff. Because going back to what you were saying about I can't think of nobody's name in the thing, but the girl, Joey Pance's daughter, whatever her name is, the girl from Better Call Saul. She, like, her plot, yeah, I understand. She kind of came out of nowhere and was like dead serious, but it was like you needed that to be addressed. Like, you can't just have Armando floating around here without, like, some consequences to his character. Yeah, that's insane. And knowing good and well, movies, people would do that. Like, they would write a whole movie with this character just because he's Will Smith's son, ignoring the fact that he murdered a very pivotal character. So I thought that was great. And also I wanted to comment on the villains thing. There's another franchise I think that had slightly more memorable villains, but still in the same area. It is Rush Hour. But I think it's because they would repeat the villain's name, because I still can't get Ricky Tan out of my head. But yeah, like, I feel like to solve that, if they were going for that, to establish the character and have them say his name, and have even him say his name, and it'd be a looming threat. Him confronting them on that airplane scene, though, the helicopter scene, though it was a great scene, I still can't define why it existed in my head. Why the main villain on the plane trying to kill the pilot instead of Will and Martin when they're clearly vulnerable? I just thought that was weird.
Because they're the stars of the movie.
That's the real answer.
We just can't have them get shot in the face. We gotta, like, figure out how to.
Yeah.
He had the drop on him. He was fully masked.
It took us into the world of like Mission Impossible,
Yeah.
with like plane and airplane type things. I thought it was incredibly long to come down from wherever they went. I'm like, dude, like these niggas are never gonna die. Like, what's going on? But like, I thought that was the opportunity where the cinematography for me was
Yes.
really good. Like
Yes.
really good.
Really good.
I saw the contraption where they had like the camera on the gun with the flip.
That was good too.
Real dope.
Yeah.
Bang bang, like the drone action was nuts in this movie, and seeing how like drone engineers are getting crazy with some of these shots, the zoom in, the follow, like there's a lot of good in there, lot of good in there, and the fact that the drone was part of the invasion.
Yeah, they
was
showed
really
it.
dope too.
It normalized.
That every time I just looked over, I said, "Did you see what they just did?" Like Chris was looking like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but like, yo, like that was dope. That was dope.
They had a squad of a crew. Like it could have been a whole nother movie franchise that could have got this treatment, and I would have appreciated just as much.
Yeah.
It's the fact that these two old guys, this technically antiquated series has such new and dynamic cinematography. I thought that was great. Yeah,
and they have young directors behind it too. The duo that did the last one is two young guys. I will say this before we start wrapping it up. We start talking about the last fight, and then we can rank. A theme that I love in the Bad Boys movies is Bad Boys versus racism. Every movie has a Bad Boys versus racism scene in it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying when I'm talking about like black. We don't see this in like black men. In Bad Boys 2, they fucking were shooting up KKK members. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's like a very.
That was great.
It's like a very like, oh, racism. All right, click. Like that's like. Now, they didn't shoot the racists in this movie. They just stole their truck and their clothes.
Yeah.
And I guess it's because they weren't really like a threat. They weren't like really bad guys. They were just racist. But they always have like a Bad Boys versus racism scene, which I do appreciate. So we already talked about Reggie. Reggie was dope. And the one thing I'll say about Reggie is I actually love that they gave him a story arc. Again, a lot of people don't remember what happened in Bad Boys 2. But they remember that scene with Reggie.
Yes.
Yeah, facts.
That's really. There's a humongous car chase in Bad Boys 2. There's a huge car chase at the end of Bad Boys 2. There's people getting blown apart in Bad Boys 2, and no one remembers any of that stuff, but they remember the scene with Reggie.
Well, you look 30.
Yeah. I like the fact there's some depth in his face too now, because they just had him being like anonymous. Like he seemed very anonymous before, but he's on screen. He's like what do you want? Like I could feel it. It's like kind of cool.
Well, he definitely grew up because again, this Reggie at this point protects the United States. Like I'm telling you, we don't know what he does when he's on duty.
We don't want to know what he does on duty. We got a glimpse of the house. That's enough, bro. That's enough.
What did Will Smith say? He said he looked like he seen something. What did he say? He said something like that.
Yeah, he got that look in his eye. He looked like he said something. I'm gonna go. That's how you fix the table or whatever. And it's like I almost feel like that they dropped Reggie into behind enemy lines by himself.
Yeah,
they're like we need you to go in and set it up for the boys. And he's like, okay, and then they drop him like at night.
Yeah.
Into Osama bin Laden's house. And like I'm telling you, bro, like that's an amazing storyline.
And before we move off of Reggie, the fact that he gonna grill, that he won the grill, like that was a moment. He was like, we should probably let this man have a grill. He can cook his own stuff.
And the fact that he was respectful, he was like, permission to cook my chicken, sir. And they were like, nope. He was like,
he went, yeah.
Are you sure?
but he's the type of person that he doesn't have attitude because he has honor and respect. So he's not gonna like, nigga, do you know who I am? He'll be like, he'll just stand there and be like, I'll wait for you guys to figure it out.
No, it's really great. It's because it's in line with his original character, but like I said, it's showing some depth, and that's just good writing. It's like if you save a character, less is more. I say I feel like a bad writer would have been like, "What's that one guy? Oh, Reggie. Let's have him on the front line. Let's have him toting the gun and in the game." I'm like, nah, man. He essentially played his same character years later. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was great. That was a moment. That's like I felt like there were times where I'm just cheesing in the doggone movie theater watching it, and like that I want to feel good when I watch it, and like I love action. So like again, this was fire for me.
That scene got a huge applause break.
Yeah,
like when he went like this, like the theater,
everybody went nuts.
Yeah.
Like this is the first movie in a very long time where I had people in the theater screaming, clapping, and cheering for scenes. And like that was refreshing. It reminded me like early 2000s to 90s when people would be talking to the film screen.
Oh yeah.
The movie screen. Like it was loud. It was an experience.
Yeah, exactly. You and I are on the same page. So they pick up Conrad's granddaughter and Will's wife, Mike's wife. Why isn't this lady answering her phone? Your husband's been your husband's been gone for like a week.
She's pretty
How
far
are you
from
not?
the phone.
How are you not picking up? How are you not next to your phone? Your husband's been missing.
Well, since you're describing that scene, there's a lot of problems I have with that scene. First of all, why did the little white girl show up to the back door? That's creepy. Like,
I thought she was the bad guy. I thought she was the bad guy for a second. I was like, yo, is she like the villain? Like, what?
Bruh, why did she open? Why did this cop's wife open the back door? I would have been like, first of all, that's where Marcus might be. He got the ring cameras. Mike don't even have a ring camera. Like Marcus knows what's going on in his house at all times.
Inside and out.
Yeah. No ring camera, no alarm or whatever the heck. Because it went from her talking to her to the girl to her answering the phone. I understand because these movies have a very music video quality to them. So this is why you're not allowed to overanalyze it. But since you brought it up, it went from two people coming down the stairs to somebody else creeping up from the side to the main villain popping up. He didn't even use the door. I don't even know how he got in. He was just inside. Like, give me that.
Yeah.
Who is this? You know who I am. I was like, yo, she's terrible all the way around as far as security goes.
We had to have a discussion after that. We'd be like, yo, how come you ain't answering my phone calls, bitch? Like, I was in a helicopter crash. Like, what are we talking about?
You should be on standby.
I'm like, yo, first of all, we ain't opening no windows or doors in the house, period. We getting a metal thing to lock down. I'm still mad about the little white girl popping up at the back door. That was crazy. I would never. At night, you know how many scary movies start off just like that? Yeah. Little white girl, where's your parents, little white girl? Get out of here. And use the front door.
And of course, they're going to get kidnapped, of course.
Yeah.
Because she's British. She's a British black lady. So maybe not as in tune as Marcus's African-American wife.
And then asking the villain random questions. Oh, what happened to your hand? Like, shut up. Shut up. You'll be fraternizing with the enemy.
You're going to surprise your way out of this situation? What are you doing? Stop it. Can you fight? What's happening? Can you shoot a gun? What's happening?
Now you're the one with the pliers. I wouldn't be surprised if she'd have ran into his arms.
Where did Mike find this broad? Golly, what?
That is funny.
Did they meet at Ice Cream Social? What's happening? This is.
I'm surprised at the end she didn't go like, "No, Mike, I love him. You don't know what he's been through. Look at his fingernails."
Got a Colombian manicure. So they go to Gatorland and have a gunfight with the drones and the bazookas and
that was a lot.
And the alligators that were also being used to kill people, and it was awesome. I mean, the fact that the mayor or the wannabe mayor or DA or whatever that he like survived. He was just standing there and survived. I felt bad for the dude that was flying the plane because he was just doing his job.
Yeah.
I think he survived, but they really didn't give a fuck about whether he lived or died.
He shouldn't have survived. How the heck did that plane get that far out the sky and then fall right in the middle of the main attraction?
He was moving in the plane, but they didn't cut back. They didn't cut back at the end of the movie. The show they didn't show him outside with the ambulances or anything like that.
It was a lot going on in there. It was a lot of coincidences, good and bad. Like a lot of people dodged the plane that was heading right towards them. That was crazy
because it was in slow motion. They're like, "Oh, I got time to react." Let me.
Oh man!
So Armando gets stabbed a lot, and he saves Conrad's granddaughter, and that convinces Judy Howard not to kill him.
Yeah, probably. I liked it.
And they pulled the Kylie Jenner Pepsi move, where she's like, "No, don't kill him. He's like a good guy."
Yeah.
Remember when Kylie Jenner goes up to the cops? She's like, "Hey, let's stop racism. Have a Pepsi." That's like what she did. Yeah. Stop! Don't kill him. He saved me.
Nah,
yeah, a little white girl should have minded her business, honestly, but it was good. She should have like, "Yo, get out of the way. I'm gonna put you on punishment." Yeah.
Right. So time out.
So overall, so they did the thing at the end, like they do at the end of every movie, where one of the Marcus or Mike has to make a decision of killing the villain. The villain always gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
He always gets shot in the head at the end of every movie. And this time they pulled a Speed. What happened in the movie Speed is he shot his partner and then he shot the guy.
But this is the second time they because I was thinking it kind of caught me off guard just because I'm like, okay, he shot him in the ass at one time and then he shot him. I was like, I didn't think they was going to be bold enough to repeat the same thing.
Yeah, Mike has shot Marcus a lot in these movies.
Yeah, he's like, I can't.
And that's why I love. And that's one of the favorite parts, like in Bad Boys 2. Mike was like, "Who shot you in the ass? You got shot in the ass."
But yeah, I thought that was good. I thought the wrap up, because that's another thing too. That scene in normal movies takes a long time. I like that they didn't even like draw it out. Like, you know, he said, "Hey, he can't die." What? Okay, cool. Let's just wrap this up. Yeah. I just looked real quick. This is actually the shortest Bad Boys.
It did seem fast. Hour and 55.
15. Oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right.
Hour 55.
Yeah, because the same amount of time. Yeah, 15. It's I'm looking at minutes. That's why. But yeah,
I got
it. Including end credits.
Yeah, that probably does include it.
What happened at the very, very end? I forgot. The grill scene is at the end of the movie. Okay, yeah, that's right.
Perfect way to end it. Was some comedy, some chill, a barbecue. Plus, it's June. It's barbecue kickoff season, man. Like, and we're at that age where we the OGs are supposed to be putting something on the grill. Like, it's no more where's the barbecue at? Who's queuing? It's you. It's us. Like, we responsible for lighting it up. So I just feel good movie.
You got your apron, Jade? You got your apron, right?
I have my apron, man. I get busy out there.
How about you, Jeremy? You got your apron?
I don't have an apron, but I have been maturing in my grilling skills, because it's funny because I don't cook a lot, but I have an internal need to grill. Yeah. So first we started with the little tiny grill, and I was like, I can get used to this. Y'all started looking up the temperature stuff, and, you know what I mean? And then it made me start criticizing other people's grilling skills. I was like, I ain't doing this right. Then that made me go like, I need to do it. So I'm about to upgrade to an adult grill. You know what I'm saying? And get down for real. So
it's that manhood talking.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go. Let's start with you, Jeremy. Of the 4 Bad Boys movies, how you rank them?
Okay. All right. So here we go. This is stressful. Okay. So I was impressed with Bad Boys Ride or Die. So I'm going to give it a good ranking, but I still got to go 2 first. I just think that that's them at their peak. I think Martin was slowing down then, but it's the height of you're gonna get. I think if Bad Boys, I feel like if they would have came out like close, like they didn't wait 20 years between the two, I think I could appreciate For Life and Ride or Die more. But that's the only reason why. Other than that, technology wise, all that stuff is great. So I gotta go with Bad Boys 2 first. Oh man, this is tough. All right, man, I have to say Bad Boys Ride or Die, and I'm a tie it with Bad Boys just because I might give the edge to the original Bad Boys just because Martin was doing this thing, man. Like he just, I need to see more of that, and even Will like playing more of a, you know, the attract. I miss those character types that they had. It kind of moved into Will just super macho and Martin being comedic relief as opposed to Martin being the aggressive one and Will being the suave one, smooth, the ladies man. I miss those two character types. I would like to have seen those two grow. So that's why I'll give Bad Boys the edge. Bad Boys Ride or Die was just it was a great movie through and through. So that like I said, I almost have to appreciate it as a separate franchise a little bit, just a little bit. So then I go Bad Boys for Life, just because I think the pop up kid was a lot for me to take in. That it really was. Like it was a good. It was good. But I was like, oh, now we gotta wedge a lot of this stuff. We gotta. And then even in this movie, he talking about some. Did you ever love her? Like, nigga, no. I didn't know you exist.
Not
Love her?
not at all.
No, she was evil. Your mom was evil. But yeah, that's my ranking.
I'll go. I'll let Keenan wrap it up. So for me, I already said Ride or Die is going to be number one for me. I like to go back to Bad Boys 2. For number 2, I go nostalgia with original Bad Boys, and then in third, Bad Boys for Life.
I'll do Bad Boys for Life, Bad Boys Ride or Die, and Bad Boys 2 is my last because Bad Boys 2 was a lot. And I didn't appreciate like when I first saw it, I couldn't really follow the plot. Now that I watched it recently, I'm like, okay, this makes sense.
It was good,
yeah. But I still rank it last. I mean, it doesn't mean that the movies are bad by any means. I will say that most of the movies, the villains are forgettable, and a lot of the plots are forgettable. What we remember are the action scenes, and the funny scenes, and the characters. But if you ask me, what was Bad Boys about? It was about Will and Martin stopping drug niggas from making money. That's it. That's every
bottom line. That's the franchise. Keep it simple.
That's every single movie. So, but Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us on today's podcast. Where can people find you? You got anything coming up that you want to push? And where can people find you on social?
At Jeremy Comedy on Instagram. Jeremy Scipio, SCIPPIO.com. Everything else, what do I want to push? Listen to my comedy album. Yeah, you can. I would say the best place if you're still into iTunes because you purchase it. Other than that, I think Tidal probably pays the second most. After that,
dollars and cents.
You said what?
I said you got to give it to who pays the most in order. I like.
Yeah. Title second,
first, then Title, then where else can I get you?
Then I guess YouTube and trickle down. I think Spotify pays the least, but whatever. Let me see what else. Is that it? Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah.
All right. How about you, Jade?
I'm gonna keep it simple. You can just find me at Jade Brandon on Instagram. You can find me at Jade Barnes, I think, on Facebook. I just like talking shit, causing a few laughs, a little controversy, and just enjoying life. So you can find me there.
Nice. And me, you can find me on all platforms at Keenan J. Floyd. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram, Cultured Pod, and on TikTok, Cultured Pod. If you made it this far, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want to keep those numbers going up. Thank you so much for those that have joined us so far. And for those of you that are on the East Coast, September 14th, I will be doing 2 shows at the Elbow Room in West Hartford, Connecticut. And on September 15th, I will be headlining. I'm headlining Connecticut as well, but I will be headlining the St. Mark's Comedy Club in the East Village in Manhattan of New York City on September 15th. Those tickets will go on sale July 1st. Hopefully I'll be getting more dates, so I'll let you guys know what's going on. But thank you so much for joining us on the Culture Podcast. Peace out.